Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Knowledge is Power, where we're here to empower you through our webinar from our different experts. Today, we're going to talk about a subject that can be quite sensitive, but is also essential to us: money and poverty mindset. A lot of us that who are in business have this thinking that, hey, we're too scared to expand, we're too scared to invest, and we're even too scared to do the right thing for our business. So this is what this webinar is about. Today, I have one of our experts in the group. I love her to death. She is so good at what she does. So Sarah, thank you so much for joining us onto our platform again today.
Thanks for having me, Martha. I'm really pleased to be here. It's a sensitive topic, as you said, but a lot of people don't even know it exists as a thing.
That's finally. So please tell us a little bit more about your background.
Yeah, so I am a business strategist and a commercial lender, so commercial finance and asset finance broker for over 20 years in business. And a lot of my work is spent with business owners working on their business mindset and their business acumen skills to ensure they get the best out of what they do. We blood, sweat, and tears into our businesses. So we want to make sure that we're getting a viable return out of them for whatever that looks like for us personally, because it's not always about money. Money makes the world go round, but it's not everything.
That is so true. So, what are we going to talk about with the poverty consciousness today? Can you tell us a
Yeah,
little bit
poverty
more about
consciousness
that?
is a really interesting topic. I actually prepared a slideshow for people or a deck so that they could follow along. So when we're ready, do you think I can turn that on?
Yeah, definitely. So,
Yeah,
what I'm
let's
going to
get
do, I'm going to leave the show to you and I'll come back at the end of it. Thank you again for sharing with us.
started. Awesome. Let me share my screen. Okay. Can you see that, Martha?
Yes, we can.
Amazing. All righty. So, poverty consciousness is a very interesting topic. It impacts your business and your life. Before we go ahead, though, I am going to read you our disclaimer because we have to read this one for legal purposes. So, the information and material and supplementary and associated information available, it's for general information only. It should not be taken as constituting professional advice from the webinar owners. That's you and me, Martha. And we recommend that suitable independent advice is that you seek independent suitable advice that's specific to your unique circumstances. So I put together this meme because this is sort of what it looks like for me when we see business owners, when I raise this concept with them. So opportunity awaits, but you're going to need to spend some time and some cash first to get there. So poverty consciousness is a belief, often it's subconscious, that there isn't enough stuff to go around, either not enough money, not enough time, not enough friends, not enough business, clients, breaks, love, literally anything that you want or you think you and others need or that is important to you. It's often referred to as a mindset of limiting beliefs, negative attitudes towards wealth and abundance. It often operates from a position of perceived insecurity. Individuals with poverty consciousness may struggle to envision their life, a life of prosperity. So it hinders their ability to pursue opportunities, create financial stability, which ultimately leads to what they desire the most, and then they don't get it. They often don't want to spend their money, they hold on to it, utilizing it to rather than utilizing it to grow more wealth. They are beyond frugal, always looking for the cheapest options. And it's not usually the one that makes sense long term, though, which is false economy. And they usually under budget for what things really cost because they don't want to pay for them. Well, there's a typo. And are really unrealistic about current market prices. So that seriously restricts their ability to succeed in life and business. It's otherwise known as a scarcity mindset. You may have heard it called a few different things, but it will seriously impact our ability to make money, to scale, to hire staff, and to be successful in business. By being overly frugal and not planning out your expected costings, it will leave you vulnerable in business. Now, I'm quickly going to stop there. Martha, can you double check and see if there's any questions that are coming through for us? I would advise everyone to just ask your questions as they're coming in, and Martha's going to let me know if there are any. It's a little bit hard for me to get feedback unless you're asking questions today. So the more questions you've got, swing them through the chats, whether you're in our Zoom or whether you're online on our Facebook chat. So this is another demonstration of a scarcity or a poverty consciousness mindset. It's pretty clear. Sticking a stick in the own wheels of the own bike that you're riding on. Stop doing it. That's the point of today. So, poverty consciousness. Bootstrapping a business can only get you so far. Why? Because often you run out of cash. You run out of cash because you think you can do it for cheaper than it realistically costs. And that feeds into the concept we've already talked about earlier around thinking things will cost you less, or you'll be able to get them done for cheaper than they really do cost, and therefore you short budget, which means you can't complete your project. It creates serious inefficiencies in business, and I've seen this multiple times over the last 12 months with clients of mine where they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing because they don't want to pay for them and they don't want to spend money to make money. It's a common issue that impacts the business, and the one that was probably really relevant for me was a restaurant owner I had last year that lived in a remote location, and rather than having the food delivered because it was 15% dearer than what she could get in the supermarket for her food, she was driving 3 hours, or the equivalent of about 240 kilometers per day, to buy her food. She hadn't priced in the cost of the fuel and the cost of her time and the cost of her not doing the other things as a business owner that she was actually supposed to do to impact the outcomes of her business. And as such, she was heading herself for burnout and breakdown. And on top of that, she was being completely inefficient in business, and she was wasting any profit that she had growing in her current trading. So it's really interesting to see how poverty consciousness in the way you do business impacts your ability to make the one thing you're afraid of losing, which is usually money. But it's not always money. Sometimes it's time. A lot of people go into business thinking they'll get more time back in their lives and they'll be more flexible and they'll have more control. And by having a scarcity mindset or a poverty consciousness around how they operate, they end up finding themselves not having the freedom or flexibility that they thought they would, based on how they choose to make their decisions. So how do you flip poverty consciousness? One, have an awareness that it exists in the first place. So now you do. Two, assess how this shows up for you in your life. So an awareness of it, if you've got it. How do you make that decision when you say, I can't afford that? Or I don't have time for that. How are you responding to when people ask you something or you're presented with an opportunity? How are you responding to it? Then have an observation or an active assessment of this in your life. So once you're having the awareness of it occurring, what is your answer? What is the key focus? Is it time? Is it money? Is it something else that's driving the way you speak to these things? And then we want you to change up the script. Not as simple as it sounds. You could spend a lot of time in this awareness stage before you can change up the script. And instead of saying, I can't afford it, perhaps try, that's not a current priority for me. Another one is if you are asked to go to an event that you perhaps don't want to go to, rather than saying, I can't afford it, you can simply say, that's not a priority for me, or right now I don't value that is the best use of my time, rather than I can't afford it. One, it'll give you better relationships with people around you because you're being honest, you actually don't want to go to that event. But two, if they then go off and see you buying other things, and yes, it's a subjective judgment, but if you say you can't afford something and in the next breath they see you doing something that's more expensive, they're going to usually feel quite hurt by the fact that you didn't prioritize them or you didn't value them in their life. So it can, poverty consciousness can dictate the way that you behave, and that behavior can then slide into your personal life and your relationships in a way that perhaps you weren't expecting, and it has a big impact on the outcomes of your friendships and your relationships simply by something that you may not currently be aware of. So how can you deal with poverty consciousness in your everyday life? So poverty consciousness, we actually have a reframing workshop, and I'll bring it up now, a worksheet, sorry, I'll bring it up now for you guys. You can see it here. If what we're looking at has, Martha, can you just confirm that you can see this for me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks, guys. You can see here is what we're looking at. Again, it's a description for you as to what is poverty consciousness and how it impacts you. We have a look at what your identified limiting beliefs are. You may never be financially successful because of your background, and then you need to reframe it. My past does not determine my future, and I have the power to learn, to grow, and create my own success story. Another belief is I will starve if I don't hold on to every cent. So money is a tool that allows me to live a comfortable and fulfilling life, and I can use it to make positive contributions to myself and others. So you can see where this is going in terms of how you view things, where's your observation and awareness at, and then how will you reframe. So it gives you some space for some current beliefs, the limiting beliefs, and then it allows you with some affirmations to flip that. I am capable of achieving financial success and creating a life of abundance. I release all negative beliefs about money and embrace the flow of wealth into my life. And I attract opportunities for prosperity, and I am open to receiving an abundance in all forms, not terms. So you can see in there, here's some other practical steps for change that we offer. And when we ask you to take a moment and reflect on the limiting beliefs that you've identified, and we highly recommend that you do this every 6 months, because by doing it every 6 months, it will allow you to reframe continually your poverty consciousness position about where you are in your life. So I'm just going to flip the slides back on. And then if you want to learn more, the Financial Fofu podcast, which I'm co-host of with Trudy Cowan, we actually have a podcast episode about this. You can just search it in Spotify, and it's called What is Poverty Consciousness? So Martha, have we got any questions? I'm going to stop the screen share. Or is there anything that anyone would like to know about poverty consciousness? Let's see what we've got coming through in Facebook.
Yes.
What have we got coming through? Any yet?
Yep. There's no question so far.
Okay. Have you got any questions about poverty consciousness? I know that you and I talked about it last time, and perhaps since then you've had a chance to think about how this was impacting your life and what the outcomes were.
I think that with the poverty mindset, a lot of us that don't realize we have an option to take. Like, I love the fact that you actually talk about affirmation and all of that, because that really makes a difference. But at the end of the day, it is also the power to actually shift that mindset, saying that from impossible to possible. And I think that you have highlighted in your presentation there what we can do.
Yeah, it's a common one. Look, and I've done a lot of work on this personally, like over the last 15, 20 years, you could say, about what my value proposition was in life and how I viewed life and what was important to me. And I didn't grow up with money. Everything I've ever gotten in my life was hard earned and hard worked for. I certainly have had no handouts given to me. I've had the occasional chop out by my dad, but that's few and far between in the grand scheme of life compared to what other people perhaps have. And therefore, I definitely lived in a family. We didn't have much money growing up, and I definitely lived in a family that really struggled to make ends meet and weren't in a capacity to give me money to play with to develop better skills when I was younger. I'm one of 5 children, and like my pocket money for the week when I was 15 was like $4 a week. Now, it was the 90s. You could still do some things with $4 a week, but it wasn't enough necessarily for me to have a clothing budget or an allowance, or to go to the movies or to buy a CD, like to work out what I wanted in terms of a budget and then work forward. So I've had to do a lot of work and reframe myself constantly around, I can't afford it. For me, I can't afford it. That's too, I can't afford it, to okay, I decided I need that, not want it, but need that. So how do I then afford it? What do I need to do? Do I need to save? Do I need to find 5 more clients this week? Right. One of
Yeah,
the
that's true.
benefits of being self-employed is that we have no cap on our earning capacity.
Yes, that is so true. And I think that's actually the thing that a lot of us don't think about ourselves as a business owner. A lot of us that who runs a business or starting to run a business, we have this mindset of, oh, everything costs money, so I need to budget very carefully. And to me, that is a poverty consciousness in our mind.
I would say most business owners don't budget at all. My experience
Ah,
has been no budget. And when I say no budget, I mean no dedicated budget. They might say, I need to do this, and therefore I need to buy these 3 things, and that's going to cost X, but they don't factor all the other stuff that you need when we look at, even if you're to fit out a shop, for example, right? If you're going to fit out a beauty salon
yeah.
and, you know, people would say, oh, I've got 20 grand, that'll fit out the shop. And you go, the paint's going to cost you $700 alone. That's if you do the painting on that. Your electrical work, if you need new PowerPoints, is going to cost you another $1,000. That's if you don't need to rewire. You have to have the load checked. If you need any plumbing moved, there's another 1,000. If you're going equipment, there's another 15,000. Then you need to pay your bond. Then you need to pay your rent. Then you need to pay your insurance, because you need public liability insurance. And usually in a commercial retail lease, you need building insurance, because the outgoings you pay for on behalf of the landlord, it's not the same as a retail lease, a residential lease. And so you end up, you might have thought you needed to buy 5 chairs for the salon and some stock and equipment, and then suddenly all your money's gone because you did not write a list of all the things you would, either you were unaware of, so you hadn't done enough research, or you decided you thought you could get them cheaper, or you didn't need those things to get started.
Oh, that is so true, isn't it? Like a lot of us didn't actually know the basic budgeting in business.
Yeah.
And before that we went on today, you actually told us that you have a course about understanding what financial base is. Can you tell us a bit
Yeah.
more about
Yeah.
that?
Look, so my Better Business Owner course has been in the market now for a couple of months. It has
Mm,
got 10 modules with Trudy Cowan from TCK Accountants doing the last 2 modules. You can literally build the foundations of your business owner mindset so that you can make better quality decisions faster and make more money with less stress by doing the course. And it runs through some of these things. And poverty consciousness is actually a section of module 1.
ah,
Because it's so foundationally fundamental to how you make decisions as a business owner, right? So
mm,
often people ask me if I do any life coaching. The answer is hell no. There's plenty of people out there that can do life coaching for you. However, business owner mindset is very heavily driven by a lot of your personal belief systems. And if you haven't got an understanding of those, or you choose to ignore them, because that's another option, they will impact your business. And so
mm,
a lot of the things that function into the foundations of business and how you make decisions come from those personal belief systems. So we do a lot of work on reframing those so that you have an understanding. And the main idea of the course is to empower you with knowledge so that you can make decisions for yourself. Otherwise, you can go through the baptism of fire, which is 5 to 10 years in business and multiple failures to learn the lessons. Or you can do the course and have a relatively solid understanding of what's needed up front. You
That
choose.
is so true. Like I have heard a lot of like businesses, especially in the MLM or the affiliation world,
Mhm.
a lot of them actually join in hoping that they will run a business, but
Yeah.
without the foundation knowledge of what is a business, how do you actually scale, and what is the profit margin of what you're doing?
Yeah.
I was recently having a conversation with someone that she told me that, oh, she have a choice of actually making a bigger sales, but she choose to have a smaller margin in her business and then selling more of the
More
to actually
turnover.
get into it, get for the turnover. And I think it's a two-way of thinking. It
Yeah.
really about that person.
She's diversified her risk, right?
Mm,
And there's more risk to have less sales, but higher profit margin on each sale than it is to
mm,
have lots of smaller sales
Mm,
and less profit margin, but it's the economies of scale argument, right? You're
mm.
making more money because you're selling more product or service,
Definitely, definitely.
whatever it is.
And there's no one thing like, more effort than the other. To me, running a business is effort. Running a
All of it,
business,
all of it. It's all
isn't
effort.
it? Huh?
Yeah. You can't get away from the thing about being in business is that it consumes 99% of our lives. And again, another section of the course is around boundaries. Because
Mm,
if you don't put in place strong boundaries around business and then train yourself, not even everybody else, but train
yeah.
yourself to stay and work within your own boundaries, you will be taken advantage of. Your time will be
Yes.
given away. You will
Mm,
burn out. You will have no life outside that. Your relationships will break down because you can't have conversations that revolve around anything other than your business.
mm.
Like where does your personal life now filter into the business world? Like we don't work, we work to live, we don't live to work. And often self-employed people, that's all they've got.
Yes, I hear you. I hear you. Like, I used to be one of them. I am a complete workaholic. I admit it. But a lot of the times that I do have to realize that, hey, burnout is real. Stress level can actually go up to there. And then once it explodes, what I'm giving is my health, my mentality, and
Yeah,
also my relationship, which are
yeah,
valuable.
exactly. But what if you being a workaholic was just another form of poverty consciousness,
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it.
right?
Go deeper into it, please. Tell us
Right.
more
Well,
about
if I was to look at you saying that you were a workaholic, there's a reason that you're throwing yourself into working all of the time.
that.
And in the past, Martha, why did you work all of the time?
Yeah, it was because that I wasn't happy with my relationship and I didn't feel useful. So I used work to give me that satisfaction of feeling being
Validation.
useful. Yeah.
Yeah. So you had a poverty consciousness around your own value, not
Mm.
time or money, but your own
Mm.
value proposition and who you are as
Yes.
a person. And so you buried it and demonstrated to yourself and validated yourself through work. And
Ah.
then I'm guessing, because I don't know the history, but the
Mm.
relationship you had at the time broke down.
Yeah, definitely. It wasn't good at all.
I mean, they kind of go hand in hand. It's hard to ignore.
Yes.
It's very hard to ignore one for the other. Life is a balancing act, and the earlier
Mm.
we work that out, the easier it is. And to be honest, most of us don't work it out until much later in life. A lot of people in this group right now would be nodding, going, "Yeah, I'm
Yep,
40 and
definitely.
I've only
Like,
worked this out now." Imagine if we knew this at 15, that life was a balancing act and your value comes from your own self-belief and you get
yeah.
to validate yourself. Nobody else validates you. And to have the awareness and recognition that I'm throwing myself into something, perhaps a little too much, like there's passion and then there's avoidance.
Yeah.
And where do I draw the line? And it's okay to be passionate about something and still take some time to go walk my dog at the beach or go to
Mm.
a movie with my partner or spend some time at my child's soccer game.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
imagine if we'd had that lived experience that we've now got now at a younger age and how
Yeah.
different our lives would have been. So I suppose in terms of the poverty consciousness argument, it's really having a good look at how you make decisions and
Mm.
unpacking why you're making those decisions. Are you making them because they genuinely are the right decision to make for yourself and your business? Or are
Mm.
you making them because you don't have time, value, money, clients, and you're looking to control the outcomes around those?
Mm.
And you've got an avoidant nature that goes with it.
Mm. So what will be your like top advice for people like us that who are running their business, having a family to look after, and then constantly feeling that I'm not enough, and then
Yeah.
having that mindset. So what is the best tip that you can
Set
give
some
us?
realistic expectations up front.
Mm.
Business is not easy. It is highly unlikely that you are going to go viral and earn $1 million in the first month of being in business,
Yeah.
the first year of being in business. In fact, in Australia, most businesses, something like, I'd have to check the stats, but it's a large proportion, earn under $200,000 per year.
Mm.
Right? So first work out what a living wage is for you, and then look at your profitability. So you do your break-even analysis and you price yourself for profit, and then earn a living wage. So that should be your first goal. Try and earn a living wage, but not at the detriment of everything else in your life. So perhaps you need to still apply the 8-8-8 rule: 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of rest and play, and 8 hours of work. Maybe that's not feasible. Any startup business owner will tell you, I worked 20 hours.
Yeah.
And all of the hustle mentality marketing that is out there at the moment is going to tell you that. And in a lot of ways, I agree. If you do not hustle for yourself, you're not going to get a return. But there's
Yeah.
hustling, and then there's alignment, and
Yes.
aligning yourself to authenticity and to values. And I think with hindsight, had I done that earlier, I would have earned a lot more money earlier as well with less stress, for the same reason.
Definitely.
Is because I suppose for me, I worked out younger that what was important to me was traveling and friends and being able to spend time with people. So I built a business early on, which was in residential home loans.
Mm.
We still offer those services through my business, but I don't personally write the loans anymore. But I built a business which allowed me that if one of my friends, Martha, if you picked up the phone and rang me,
Mm.
I had an hour to give you to have a chat, because
Mm.
that was fundamentally more important to me than making money.
Mm.
Unfortunately, you can't eat the air. So to
Yeah.
be commercially viable, I had to have a good look about how much was I spending on other people's issues and not
Yes.
doing the things that I needed to do for myself to be successful and profitable, right? So like everything, it's a scales argument. It's about finding the balance of what will work. It's trial and error.
Mm.
It's assessing the outcomes that work for you and having the awareness that it's there in the first place.
I hear you. That was a mic drop moment for me. Like how much time are you spending on others? Then looking at yourself, is what you're spending, your energy, your life source, is giving you the return on investment. If
Mhm.
not, you are a wonderful person, but what are your goal at the end?
Yeah.
What is it that you want? So you are spending your life source on. I think that's a really good wake up call for a lot of us.
Yeah. Look, some of this stuff can be confronting, and maybe you need to hear it 25 times before it
Mm.
actually sinks in as well. Unfortunately, Martha's recorded this for you today, but being a business owner is not easy, but a lot of the extra work or how hard it is a result of our own programming around what's easy and what's hard.
Yeah. I think so. I think so too. And having this webinar today, I believe that a lot of us have that mic drop moment, thinking that, hey, is it the poverty mindset
Yeah.
that we are having that is stopping
Yeah.
us from moving forward?
Yeah.
What are the things that we have to do? And I love for you to actually come back onto our platform to teach us about budgeting and finances
Yeah.
for our
Happy
business,
to. I'd
because
love
I
to.
think a lot of us don't know that. We just sort of, oh, we got this money, we invest, and then, okay, so what's the return? What are the things that we need?
Yeah, but no one does the financial stuff. So look, I'm not a financial planner. As you know, I have an Australian credit license as a credit representative. So I can talk to you about budgeting and cash flow and how do you spend your money and your discretionary expenses,
Mm.
basic and luxury living expenses too. Investing, I will not discuss. But
Mm.
in reality, if you don't know how to budget or read your pay slips, you're not going to be able to do investing in the first place, right? So
Mm.
love to come back on and teach everyone about that. And also then as a shout out to anyone that signed up today for the webinar, if you're already on the list, I will shoot you the poverty consciousness workshop workbook. But if you want it from this webinar, follow the same link. I'll keep that contact us form open. And I will also then email out the worksheet for you, or the workbook for you to do as well. So
Excellent. So everyone reach out to Sarah here, get that workbook and start reviewing yourself. Hey, self-reflection is the best activity you can do for yourself if you don't want to stuck at where you are now.
so true, Martha. Thank you so much for having me on today. It's been fantastic. Knowledge is power, and the more we take that on board, the better off we'll be. And as a little funny anecdotal story, the first slogan I had on my business card for SFB loans was knowledge is power.
Oh, cool. I
Back
really
in the
like
day.
that.
It was
I
like a
really
long
like
time
that.
ago.
I
Awesome,
love
guys.
it.
No other
Thank you
questions
so
in the
much.
chat at all?
Yes, there wasn't enough questions in there. So later on, if you do see this, Sarah will be tagged onto the post.
Yep.
So feel free to reach out to her if you
Yep.
got any questions.
Yeah, but even if you're comfortable, pop them into the
Mm,
chat, because by other people reading your questions, they feel more game to ask questions, and I will
yes,
answer all of them.
that will be amazing. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Sarah, for coming onto our platform today. It has been such a joy and always educational when I'm talking to you.
Thanks, Martha. Appreciate it. Appreciate you.
Thank you for everyone who are watching today and listening to our podcast. We look forward to seeing you again next week on Knowledge is Power.